Hello there everybody, welcome, welcome. Pardon the slightly early start, I just thought, you know, I'm ready. I could sit here till 1:45 like there's something wrong with me, or I could just get started. So I thought, why not just get started. Apologise in advance if there's anybody trying to eat or something and I've upset that. But yeah, obviously no obligation to stick around. You do as you please, feel free to drop in, do whatever, just relax. And hopefully we'll have a good stream today. So how is everybody doing? Hello from Australia, says, can I have a life? King Ori, hello to you too. Verdis Koyo, good morning. Ooh, it must be morning where you are right now. James Spence, hello. Lewis123. Minority77, I guess, says hi. Hello to you as well. Pocket Rocket Productions, just in time for the stream. Very good. Welcome the mods. Sam's always ready, says Mark. Yes, Mark. Yes, he is. And I saw Duckman here as well, so welcome to you. Trace Pierce, nice to see you. The Train Collector, there's your shout out. Ninjago fan number 3. Powerful Pikachu 07, that's a cool name. Hello from New Zealand, says, oh, okay, that was Minority77. Stan and Leo, yes, you can have a shout out. Good day to you too, Destin, the lead engineer. Or lead engineer, I guess. If you're a lead engineer, you probably would be dead by now, wouldn't you? Poisoning and whatnot. Trainmaster 047, where you are. Okay, cool, early. Dominic Redshaw, nice to see you. New Justice is back. Anyway, it's great to see so many of you guys still healthy. I hope you're all doing okay, of course, making the best of the situation and whatnot. Doing some good modelling. Yes, I certainly have been. Shall I show you what the first Loco is up today then? It's a classic Triang. If you enjoy the sort of vintage models, you're going to enjoy today because there's some really cool ones coming up. First one then is a Triang. It is this, my Winston Churchill Battle of Britain class. What a classic. Oh, I love these. As you can see, the previous owner stuck some arrows on the side to make it look like the golden arrow. I think we've got one on the front as well. Look at that. That's quite nice, isn't it? I never took them off. I just thought they looked really, really good. Yes, they're not part of the original model, but why not? Why not keep them? They're a bit unique, aren't they? So we will see, just have one more look at the chat. Am I going to fix the Mallard Ninja Go fan number 3? Yes, if we get to it, there is a Wrenn A4 to strip down and you'll be able to see just what a magnificent mechanism they sport. New Justice is okay. Troy Mosley, hi Sam'sTrains, hello to you as well. Yoshio's here, nice to see you. Jeremy Daniels, it's good afternoon. Michael, yep, that is Rebecca, but I try not to think of this as Rebecca because Rebecca doesn't get a good rap. Whereas I think the Battle of Britain and the Merchant Navies, the West Countries, they deserve a lot of support, don't they? Because they're beauties. Right. Yeah, Nathan, I thought the golden stickers looked great as well. Yeah, they're not great if you look close because they're a bit gluey. It looks like a modern Hornby job or something, but no, they're okay. They're okay. In fact, the one on the other side has come off. I think I wonder if it's probably on the shelf where I keep it. Oops, just noticed that. Let me just, before I do take the body off, let me just make sure I've got it. Yes, yes, it is. It's on the shelf. Oh dear. That's it. So we'll have fun sticking that back on later, or I might just save it because it's not going to be very interesting, is it, watching me hold that onto the body while the glue goes off. Either way, yeah, at least I've got it, so it can go back on if necessary. Body screws then at the just in front of the smoke box door. Nice and easy to get to that. And then the body just comes right off, as you can see. So what have we got? This is a basic setup, very much so. Yeah, it really is just the motor wide in. I have no capacitor on this one, which is a bit odd. It ought to have one, really. I might be able to put one on it. Oh well, let's do this. So it's the same drill. You're probably used to seeing this by now, or if you've got your own engines with XO4s, no doubt you've done this many, many times. The magnet feels good. Oh yeah, oh, so that's good then. So I won't have to remagnetise today. That's good. At least not with this one. I will have to remagnetise one of the Wrenns because you have to take the pole pieces off the motor in order to service it. So yeah, there will be some remagnetising gold coming up later on, but hopefully not with this one. All right. I filled up my IPA bottle, so that is ready to go. I don't have to dig the cotton buds right down to the bottom anymore, which is handy. So just give this a once over. This one obviously gets a good service every year because I like it very much. So it runs rather a lot. Although actually, it's looking pretty good inside, isn't it? To say it's run reasonably often. But that's what I like. That's what I like. It makes servicing a bit easier if there's not a huge mess to clean up. Hang on, I've left my bin over the other side of the room. I like to have it right next to my seat so that I can just chuck cotton buds straight into it. Oh, I filmed an interesting video this morning, folks, all about controllers and what happens if you misuse them. So stay tuned for that one. I won't make any spoilers on this stream. But yes, it was interesting. And I've got some interesting videos for you this week, folks. Good Lord. you better watch out. There's, I think it's SLD51 is going to be pretty happy on Saturday. And also Boas04. Welcome to the engineers. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you enjoy it. In fact, there have been quite a lot of posts to the engineers recently. As you might remember from the last stream, I stripped some of the track off Gordon's Hill and retracked it because there was Hornby Dublo track on it, which is slightly different in height, and it made the Locos bump. It's been fine for years. It's probably just my OCD, but I decided I was going to get rid of it and upgrade to all Hornby track. So I've done that, reballasted it, resurfaced it. It actually looks incredibly different. So yeah, if you want to see that, become an engineer. The cheapest tier is only, I think, £2 a month, something like that, and you get the posts, behind the scenes posts. And if you want to pay a bit more every month, which you don't have to at all, just viewing is all the support you need to give, but if you want to give a bit of extra support and get some bonuses too, you get early access to all my videos and bonus streams every month. We had the bonus stream just last week for April. So yeah, there's quite a lot of good stuff. Check it out if you haven't already. I'm told that I don't plug that often enough, but you guys know it's there. I'm not going to be one of those morons that keeps plugging things every single video, because I know you guys aren't dumb. You'll see them if you want to join. But yeah, I thought I would just do one little plug. Right, that motor's looking good to me. I will just clean out the worm drive. That's a new fad. I didn't always used to do this, but I like cleaning them now because obviously then, you know, there's no debris on the drive and that should reduce the friction. It's amazing sometimes how dirty the worm drives and the reciprocating gears sometimes get. It's crazy. Oh, thank you very much, Pam. She says, loves you, Sam. You're the best. I don't know about that, but thank you. Good day from Australia. Robert Neal. Quite a few Australians. It must be a convenient time at the moment. Jeff have cost. Nice to see you. Michael Kemp, hi as well. Warning, duck puns, warning. Oh, we got some duck puns. I'm not surprised. Thank you all guys for turning up. I hope you enjoy today. Right, some strange looking discoloration on this chassis. It's not Mazak rot or anything, but yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Someone was asking about this. They said it looked like mould growing on one of their models. This looks a bit like that, but no, it isn't Mazak rot. It looks very different, does Mazak rot. Mazak rot is normally noticeably cracked. Yeah, you can see pitting and cracking in the surface, and it looks very different to that. There's no discolouring really. Sometimes you get sort of whiteness to Mazak rot, I guess, but yeah, there's certainly no green tinge to it, so I'm confident it's not that. Some people were asking which Locos are affected by Mazak rot, and I think it was it Jake Darling? I forget who it was now, but somebody sent me a great list of all the known Locos which were affected by Mazak rot. So if you'd like that, just send me an email. My email is completely overrun at the moment, by the way, so if you've sent me an email and haven't got back, I'm not trying to be rude to you. It's just, I am, you know, I've got all these comments to answer and all these emails. It's just taking me a long time, but I'm going to do my absolute best. I just apologise in advance if it takes a while. But if you want a copy of the list, I will either try and find a version online or I can redistribute it out so you can find out. Quite a few on there that I didn't realise. It has got my 9F and the T9 in it. There's quite a few Helgen Locos on there. The Helgen, is it 47? I think that was on there. quite a lot of Locos, quite a lot of Hornby ones as well. Yes, it was quite harrowing looking through the list. So people have been asking me anyway, you know, is my Loco going to be okay? The answer is I don't know, but usually if you've had the Loco for several years, I mean, some people have been asking me if their Locos from the 50s and 60s are going to be okay. Well, I should say I'm no expert, I'm not a scientist or anything like that, but it does seem that if they're going to rot away and become a problem, they do it within a few years. It's not straight away, it does take a few years, it seems, for it to manifest, which is a pain from a warranty perspective, but I've certainly never seen it happen. I don't think with any of my made in Britain Locos, and I've certainly never seen it on a trying like this. It's not to say that it's not a problem, because it could be, but I've never seen it. That's basically what I wanted to say. Right, what did I thought I saw, no, I thought I did see a super chat come through. I don't think I did. Shout out please, says class 9002. There you go. I know you've been missing shout outs recently. Well, it's not your fault, it's mine. So there you are. I'm glad to have given you one. There we are, a bit of oil to that gear. What is your favourite train model you have? You know, that's a really difficult question, Powerful Pikachu 07, because there are so many nice ones. At the moment, I'm quite partial to the Bachmann Atlantics, the C1 Atlantic. I'm a huge fan of that one. Yeah, that's probably what I would pick. But they're all nice. There's very few Locos I don't really enjoy. Right. Shall I put a capacitor on here then? Yeah, why not? It's not taking that long. So I need to find Rusty the knife. Oh, there he is. I've got a plan as to how I can do this the botch way. Well, it's not that much of a botch. I think it's just the easy way. Right, look away if you're squeamish. I might end up cutting off one of my fingers doing this. Hopefully not, but you never know. Get this heat shrink off. Might just apply some fresh after this is over. Right, that might be enough. I might be able to just peel that off now. Let's see. Yeah, I reckon I'll be able to get that off. Yep. Right. And then what I thought I could do is if I get my bag of screws, which I'm not entirely sure where those are. In fact, let me get my box of miscellaneous parts, including screws. There we go. And I thought I would just drive one in here into this slot, which probably held the smoke generator originally or something like that, and then just solder directly to the screw for one end of the capacitor. Then the other end can go to this wire. And the capacitors just help to reduce sparking on the armature and help to keep it clean, basically. George Botterini, thank you very much. He says, thanks Sam from USA for all the videos. Oh, no problem at all. Thank you for watching them. I appreciate it. Bless you, George. Thank you very much. So I've just got to find a screw that fits this thread. I could go into my trying bag, but then I'd be wasting a genuine screw. With this one, it doesn't matter about the length as long as I can drive it in and it's making contact with the chassis. So that's why I'm just going to use any old random horrible screw. Just as a throwaway. Right, can I drive this one in? Yes, I think so. I don't care about rounding it off, and of course there's so much space inside the body, it really doesn't matter. Okay, and this is just better, it's easier to solder to a screw than it is the chassis, basically, which is why I do it this way. There you go. That's going to be a botch, isn't it? Again, I always take great pleasure in imagining the future owner of this, you know, after I'm dead and gone or whatever, and they find some of these little funny fixes. If they've got the same sense of humour that I do, then it will be great, but if not, oh dear. Right, while my soldering iron warms up, I'm just going to see if I can find my bag of capacitors. That's going to be a challenge. Now, I might have just put them away. Let me just go back to my drawers. I doubt I put them away because I'm not normally that. Oh no, I did put them away. You see, it's so unusual that I would put something away that I just don't normally bother looking in the places they live. You're best to look absolutely everywhere but the place that they live first, but no, it was the opposite today. All right, there we go. Okay, well, I'm going to try and do this as properly as I can. So I will grab a little piece of heat shrink and put that back over the joint. Mind you, it's going to have to be quite a big piece because the joint's quite ugly on there. Maybe I'll be able to do it. Squeeze it. Really needs reflowing and rewiring really, but I'm not going to put you through all that unless it really needs it. We'll see. Right, one thing I can't find at the moment are my snips. I don't know where they are. They might be up here. Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Sam Can't Find the Right Tool. Yes, I don't know. My scissors, I know where they are. They're downstairs. But it does mean that I don't have any tool for snipping my heat shrink tubing. Oh, how annoying. Sorry, folks. I know. I'd be frustrated if I was watching that as well. Right, it's okay. Got another set of pliers that can do the job. Right, will this fit on here? I think it's going to. Okay, good. So let's tin up the head of that screw that I've just rammed into the chassis there. And that will be then live with one track. There we go. Nice. And then I will tin up the legs of the new capacitor, which is there. There we go. Let's zoom out a bit, shall I? Might be sensible. There we go. You can just about see it on the edge of the shot there. So one leg gets it there, and the other one there. I'm not going to grab that while it's still red hot. Okay, that leg gets soldered on there, which should now be live to the chassis. And then if I reflow this joint that I'm about to solder to, hoping that will take, it's probably all going to come apart. Oh no, it didn't. God, old solder stinks. There's quite a lot of gubbins in it. I might need some extra solder going on there. Yeah, there's quite a lot of nasty looking bits coming off it, so I'll just flow it till it's fresh again. And this brown wire as well. Ew, nasty. There's like poo all over the joint. You do get that sometimes because these joints might not have been touched in 50 odd years, so I suppose it's not unexpected that they're not the best condition anymore. Okay, I think we got that. This is where you need 3 hands. At the moment I'm soldering one wire on and the other one's popping off. Annoying. Goodness sake. I might get frustrated in a minute and just whip them off and start again, but we'll see. Keep going. I have a feeling it's going to do it. Let me just shove this in with my screwdriver. I'm making a hash of this. No, I'm not happy with that. Hang on. Let me get my wire strippers. I'm going to strip some of that wire back because it's a nasty little crusty piece right on the end. And it doesn't look like it's going to make a good connection, and I can't be doing with that. Although having said that, it is all now soldered together nicely. But not that nicely because I could pull it apart. Right, so I need to find my snips. That's really frustrating. But we'll use the pliers for now. Where can they be? That's really strange. I only ever use them right here at the desk. It's odd. Either way, not to worry. Strip a new piece of this wire off. That's it. Ah yes, that's nice. It actually looks like wire now, which is good. Right. So I can now tin that wire up, and hopefully that will take the solder a little bit better now. Okay, the sleeving's shrinking back. Tell you what, it was a mistake deciding to put this capacitor on. but it should keep the motor cleaner in the future, so I went for it. Right. Now, get on there and stay there. Let's get these two wires together first. I'm normally alright with the soldering. It's just a big cock up today. Need to get this solder off. Hang on folks, bear with me. Right, there we are. Need the helping hand, I think. Normally try and do it with the fingers, but it's not happening today. Right, grab that. And that goes right there. Okay, I think we're going to do it this time. Hopefully it won't just be 2 hours of me trying to do this. Hopefully not. Right, that's a nicely flowed joint now. It's about time to, apologies you had to witness that. Okay. That's gone off. Heat shrink over the top. Get the heat gun on it. Oh, Colin Wykes, thank you very much, Colin, bless you. It was nice to see you again, Colin. I not heard from you in a little while. Appreciate it, Colin, really, really do. Right, how are we? Oh, yeah, that's hot. If it's not burning your hand, it's not hot enough. That's my motto. Okay. It's a big fat joint, so hopefully the heat shrink will just shrink around it and stay in place. Oops, I'm dragging the camera now. There we are. That's not going to come off. As long as that's well insulated, I think we should be fine. Okay, let's straighten the camera again, and we can go on with the reassembly now. Yeah, that's quite good. That's quite good. So, let's grab the motor back and get this thing tested. In that goes. Let's reconnect the motor. And now I've got a nice little connection as well that I can put the crocodile clip on to power the thing, which is good. I'm not a big fan of there being a collar around the screw at the back of the motor mount for the capacitor. That's always frustrated me because it's just a faff to take off and put back on. I much prefer the ones that are connected, anchored somewhere else on the chassis. So that's the good part about doing it yourself. You can do it exactly the way you like to. Okay, oil on the worm, and let's see if it works. Should do. I can't, well, my notes don't say that there's anything wrong with this model that I know of, so hopefully that will just work. Make sure we've got connection there. Let's put some oil on the various rods. Make sure we're in the shot there. There we go. Just on the coupling rods, because they're the only ones that have any real force on them, so should be all right. I'm sensing that my oiling pen will need a top up at some point. No, I can still hear it. Yes, the oil's not flowing very freely from it. I'm having to squeeze it quite a bit. Bradley Perry, thank you very much, Bradley. Just in time to see this thing run. Cheers, Bradley, appreciate that. Okay, there we are. That's it. Make sure it's standing right. Okay, and now that that capacitor's on there, the commutator should stay clean a bit as well. Should reduce the amount of sparking. Okay, wheels aren't that dirty either. Wow. I must have gone to town last year when I did this one, because it's yeah, it's really quite clean. You'll notice they do slow down quite a lot on this power supply when I put pressure on the wheels like this. That's quite normal. It's just because my power supply can't put out very much current. It's much less than my gauge master controllers, which means that under load the voltage drops a little bit and the motors slow down. But it's fine. And if it happens too much, it could indicate that there's a fault with the actual motor. But yes, it is normal because it's a current limited supply. Okay. That's fine. I'm pretty happy with that, I reckon. Let's give the wheels a bit of a once over. There we go. Okay. Good. And the back ones, and then we'll get this thing back together and put it on the track, and hopefully that will work, and then we can move on. And I have quite a nice loco up next. I think it's one that I used in the thumbnail. If not, you'll find out soon enough. Okay, well that was quite a good little upgrade actually. I did go through a phase, well as you can tell from this model, of removing the capacitors because I thought, you know, the TV suppression isn't a big deal anymore. We don't have TVs with analog signals anymore, so the interference isn't going to make much of a difference. What I didn't realise is that as well as helping to suppress the TV interference, those capacitors, as I say, they reduce the sparking on the brushes, which helps to keep the motor clean. So yeah, I have in the past advised removing the capacitors if you want to. These days I don't recommend that anymore. Keep them on. Or even better, do what I do and just put new ones on. Because I'm not sure how well capacitors from the 1950s and 60s will still work today. Although they're not electrolytics. I don't know if that's true with ceramic ones. It certainly is true with electrolytic type though. There we are. Well, that's nice. What a good runner. They do tend to jump a bit on the express points, but not terribly. Good. Right, that's her sorted, I would say, for another year then. Yeah. Good. Right, I'll pop the chat back on so you can see yourselves, and I will fill out the book, have a quick drink, and I will figure out what's next. Right, pop this back on its shelf. There we go. And I'll have to remember to glue its arrow back on at some point, but not during the stream. I don't think you need me to show you how to do things like that. Right. Hello there, says Lego Liga Bricks. Winston Churchill is alive, says Luke Hill. Yes, indeed. Who'd have thought that? Right, I'm going to have a heart attack from the puns, says Hannah B. Oh dear, have we got a lot of puns? Goodness me. What do you do when you punch a battery? You get charged. Fair enough, Bowas04, fair enough. Shout out please, says Trains Are Epic. There we go. Hi Sam, what did I miss? Says Mark Witt. Not a great deal, Mark. I've just serviced up an old Triang Battle of Britain class and it's working well. That's basically about it. So I'm going to tick that off and put the dates down. Bear with me 1 second. So that's for April 20. And I'll schedule it again for May 21. Give it a tick. The next one then is a coronation class. And it is my unique, well, might not be, well it is unique. LMS black one. I don't think they ever made a Loco Drive LMS black one. We think, and that is me and the people that have looked this up before, that somebody repainted it, but they did a really good job so that it looks like it was made that way. Okay, so it says rear wheels wonky. Yes, that's right. So they do bang on points sometimes. I've tried to correct them in the past, but it doesn't seem to last. Yeah, for some reason the back wheels are a little bit wonky. It says it's fully serviced. There's a comment that I can't read out, but it says, don't you hate that magnet? That's probably because it's so strong. Or in fact, it could have had a neo magnet in that kept sticking to the screwdriver and irritating me. But now it doesn't have that anymore. It says braced chassis with a rod. Okay, that's right, yes. It didn't have, let me show you this rather than try and explain. So there's a lot to read about this one if you look at my notes. There we go, there it is. Let me just get it with the paintbrush. Make sure everything's, tell you what, we've got a bit of a general nameplate failure going on today, because I've noticed that the nameplate on this side is loose as well when you touch it. In fact, yes, it's coming off as you can see. So what I think I'll do is I'll leave it there for now. I'll get the body off. Here it is, by the way. Look at that. It just looks like it was made that way, doesn't it? And then I'll put a dab of glue behind that nameplate, which is etched, by the way. Yeah, that's a custom one. And stick that back in place. Right, so this body, usually with the Triang ones, has a spacer between the chassis and the top of the body in order to correctly space the body and the chassis. And this one never had it, so I had to make my own sort of support just so that the chassis doesn't fall basically inside the body. And you will see what a botch of a job I did with this. However, I did it probably 5 or 6 years ago and it's still fine. In fact, I think I would have tried to find a better solution if I was doing it today. But the 5 or 6 ago year Sam, whatever you want to call it, didn't see things that way. And he did the first thing he could think of. So instead of having like a tube around the thread here, I just glued in the shaft of a cotton bud which sticks up and holds the chassis. And to give myself credit, as much of a botch as it is, it has worked for 5 or 6 years without a problem. It's really quite strong, so if you really want a botch fix, you can do that. Right, let's get that nameplate stuck back on then. There we go. Glue, and obviously you never want to put the tube of glue like this straight to a Loco body, so I always use a needle, just to drop a little bit on, and then you're literally never in danger of overgluing it. You can overglue the needle by accident, but never the Loco this way, which is good. Okay, and I use Loctite. I'm sure other brands are great, but you know, most people just end up going with a brand that they like. And Loctite is my brand. Or Araldite, I like Araldite stuff. Right, bit of glue on there, just paint it across. I imagine that will be fine. Bit extra. There we are, not too much because of course it could bleed out when you shove the thing in. But that should stay there. Good. I'll now put that somewhere out the way where I won't knock it while I work on the chassis, and then hopefully in 10 minutes time, once the chassis is done, all being well, we'll be ready to go. Okay, so this chassis doesn't have a capacitor either, which is a bit of a faff. Yes, I don't know why I used to take them off. Well, like I say, I thought they were useless at the time. It turns out they're not, but we'll see. I don't know about putting one on this. I might just put a note in so that you guys don't have to watch me do it. But I would like one on it. I think I'll put one on at some point. Yeah, I will. I'll put a note on the notes page for this, and then it'll get done next year or whatever, whenever I'm next working on this one. Okay, so it's the same drill. Man, you're going to be used to seeing these brushes getting serviced, aren't you? And these motors rather. Quite a lot. This is the last trying one though. We're moving on to the Wrenn stuff after this one, so I think, I'll double check, but I think. So this is the last one you've got to watch me do. Interestingly, another trying Loco uses this same chassis. See if you can guess which one it is. There we go. Might have different wheels, but I believe it's the same chassis. So pop your guesses in the chat and see which people come up with. I hope I'm right now. I think I am, but I could be wrong. We'll have a look in a second, see what people are guessing. Oh, Kelly Ashford, hope you enjoyed my stories. Yes, I saw a comment from Kelly saying she'd sent me some more stories. I must confess, Kelly, I haven't had a chance to read them properly yet because I've had so many emails, but I have seen that they were delivered to the right place. Yes, I saw the email from you. And I will check it out, Kelly, and yes, I will give you my usual feedback. Like I say, the last story Kelly sent was one where I gave birth somehow. I was filming a video. I think, pardon me if I get the details not exactly right, Kelly. Yes, I was filming a video and out burst a child that I didn't know I was carrying. And there are pictures that Kelly edited, I assume, unless they're real and I just forgot about this thing happening. Of this baby crawling around in my loft while I'm trying to film a video. Yes, it was a shocking story, Kelly. It certainly had an effect on me. It was alright, it was very amusing, Kelly. Right, there we go. Motor looking good. Let's flip this over then. Oh, let's see. I forgot to have a look at what people were guessing. Let's see. Right, Sam's ignoring me too. Michael, I don't ignore people. It's just while I'm looking at the Loco I'm working on, I can't look at the chat. I wish I had an extra eye, but sadly I don't. Does anyone play World of Warships? No, I've never played that. Sounds cool though. Oh, James Chorley got it. It was indeed the Flying Scotsman, I believe. Yep, same basic chassis. Trying did that quite a lot. They reused different chassis. And as you can see, this has had an extension put on. See that screw there? That holds this whole front section on to extend the chassis out. Yeah, they were quite smart about this kind of thing. Obviously, they couldn't do that these days because people would just say, I mean, you just can't reuse different chassis from different locos because they're not accurate, are they? But back in the days that Trying were making these, they weren't really intended to be serious, accurate models. So slight inadequacies in realism weren't a big deal. But of course they are today, and I guess that's partly our fault, isn't it? People like us that sit and scrutinise models. But no, it's all right. It's given birth to an all new level and era of detailed locos. But of course, it does mean that they're no longer toys. Okay, let's clean up this chassis. This one's not too oily, which is good. I try not to over oil stuff these days. Wheel set nice and free. Yeah, very free. Good. Okay, bit of oil on the axles then. I do oil these axles even though they're supposed to conduct, but there's plenty of points of contact, so even though the oil does insulate a little bit, I've never had a bad connection. I suppose you could put Electrolube in there instead, but I've never done it. The first news story is about Tangmere. Yes, I think I saw a bit of that, Kelly. I can't remember how much I've looked at them now. That rings a bell. Goodness, I wonder what romps I was having with Tangmere. Goodness me. I will have to look that out up, Kelly. Maybe I should read one out on a stream. How would you like that, Kelly? Although I don't know how suitable they are. We'll see. Right. Okay, so the pickups are on. Just see if I can get a bit of oil down this side of the gear. So I wasn't confident with the way I did that. Okay, I think that should be there now. Nice. Nice. You can see there's a reservoir here for a smoke generator. Oh, no, it can't be a smoke generator. It must be like a light leakage cabin to put a bulb in, because that's the firebox right there. That's odd, isn't it? All of that extra die casting just to stop light leaking out. Yeah, you wouldn't have thought they'd care about features such as that. Maybe it's not for light leaking out. Maybe there's another reason. But either way, it's not relevant to this model because mine never had a light. Or at least not that I'm aware of. And again, that piece looks like it's an adapter as well. Let's see. Is that true? It looks like a screw down there. Yeah. So look, that is an adapter that allows the coronation body to fit on. There's the body screw. I think the old Flying Scotsman body might have ended there, as you can see. But they needed a bit of extra length for the coronation, so on tapped this piece. It's interesting, actually. That's why it's good fun doing these Trying locos. You notice strange things. The L1s as well, and the M7s, they're the same. There's all sorts of different adapters attached onto those so that they fit on their bodies and stuff. Yeah, it's wonderful, really. It's quite a lesson in engineering, stripping these down and having a look at how they did different things. Yeah, I've always found it fascinating. I apologise if you don't, because I bang on about it quite a lot, don't I? Mark7188. Hi Sam, hope you're well. Very pleased you got your 9F running. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you very much, Mark. I tell you what, I was happy about that 9F as well. You know, sometimes these videos might look like they're contrived and stuff, and I know something's going to work. Well, I really didn't. I wasn't sure when I started filming that video. I was not certain that I would be able to fix it. If it turned out that, you know, half of the actual chassis had rotten away as well, that would have been it. It would have been a bin job, at least for the chassis. Not good. Right, either way, let's give this a little oil on its coupling rods. Yeah. Oil seems to be coming a bit better now. I wonder if there was something stuck in the nozzle. Don't know. Because I do touch the nozzle against different parts, so I suppose it's not impossible that a bit of debris could come off and get stuck inside or something. So you can see that this wheel here is, I think, the slightly wobbly one. It doesn't look like it would cause any problems, but if it just lines up with the frog of certain points in the right way, you get a big slam. I have looked at taking the wheel off the axle before and properly fettling it, but I just don't want to risk it. Oops, I think I managed to stall the motor there, put a bit too much pressure on. Oh, Peter Henson, welcome very much to the Apprentice Engineers, Peter. Be sure to check out the community tab and you'll see what I've been working on Gordon's Hill. Yeah, it's going to take some getting used to. It looks very different. I've gotten rid of a lot of the stones that were on the ground before, and oh, that one seems to be jamming up a bit. And I've grassed it over, so we've got a nice sort of grassy landscape now, which contrasts with the sort of houses a little bit further down because they still have the stones. So we've got a proper sort of countryside now. There we are. Okay. So it looks like, I mean, normally if this was on a normal controller, you would think, oh, there's something wrong with the motor because it keeps stalling like that. But again, it's just, actually these aren't the best because as you can see they're driven with the rear axle, not the middle one. And so you've got quite a, I don't know, it seems to jam them up. It seems to jam them up for some reason when you're driving the wheel set at the opposite end. But it doesn't seem to jam up once it's down on the track. It normally seems to just happen while you're servicing it. Yeah, the E2 is like that as well, the Hornby E2. It's driven from the back axle rather than the middle one, and they do jam up sometimes. And that's been known to burn the motors out on those as well because people don't realise that it's jammed up and they keep it running, or keep it powered rather, and yeah, it can do them in. You've got to watch it. But fortunately most Locos do have the centre set driven, and of course these days it's not that important because there's a lot smaller tolerance on these little mechanisms. There's not so much slack usually in the rods, but as you can see on this one there is quite a lot of slack. I mean, that's the driven wheel, very little slack there. By the time you get to this one, there's quite a lot. Yeah, it seems to make a difference. William Babcock, welcome to the Engineers, William. Same to you, welcome, and be sure to check out the community tab. In fact, tonight you'll get early access to tomorrow's video too, if you're an engineer or higher. Cool. Tangmere is the engine's proper name. Okay, Kelly, thank you for that. What did you say about me, Sam? Oh yeah, I said you'd be happy about the video that's coming out on Saturday. It's one that you've been asking about. I think it was you. Yes, it was you, yeah. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. Okay. Screwdriver. Okay, let's put this on. So I have to be careful not to over tighten this front screw because obviously it's going to put the cotton budge shaft that I have botched into there under too much stress. But yeah, if you get it in the sweet spot, it's not rattly, but it just stays put, which is what you like. There we are. I think that's about right, yeah. And then the rear one, a bit awkward to get the rear one in. They have got a hole in the bogie, as you can see, to put the screw through. But normally I don't get on very well with that, so I try and go around it. Although perhaps that isn't going to work either. I think I took it out that way. I just do it automatically these days. Might have to go through the hole in the bogie, or perhaps even just take the bogie off. Yeah, I'm not going to have any joy with that. The trouble is they're not magnetic, I don't think. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that. I could faff around trying to do it, but at the end of the day, it's going to be easier just to do it like this. There we are. That's the cop out, isn't it? Just rip the bogie off, or the truck rather, truck. Okay, get that in. Good. These Locos, I must say though, they've got proper threads in the body. They're not just self-tapping screws or anything like that, or plastic thread. You've got actual proper metal threads fitted into holes in the body, which means you've got a really good, secure mount, which is excellent, excellent. Right, onto the track we go, and you should notice that it shouldn't be underpowered now because the controller can put out a bit more current. I can probably demonstrate that if I put some pressure on the front. Stop it running, you'll see it wheel slip along. Right, oh, forwards. Oh, there we go. That's what I'm talking about when it hits the points. It didn't do it so much. Anyway, yeah, hopefully I'll demonstrate that it won't lock up anymore, even under stress. Here we go. There we go. It's got a lot more power. Okay, well, I'm happy with that. That looks good. Is it going to crawl? Yeah, not bad. Hang on. Forwards. Oh, I think I've managed to stall it now. Perhaps it isn't a crawler. Yeah, it's not a crawler, but it's reasonably decent. In fact, have I got... I thought the front bogey might have been off actually. It was making a funny noise, but no. I think we're good. I think we're good on that one. So that's it. Coronation Queen Mary, done and dusted. Okay, and I think now we're going to be moving on to the Wrenns. I will just double check my list and I'll pop your chat back on so that you can see yourselves. There we are. Right. The black coronation is cute, says Nuclear MOT. Yeah, I've always thought so. I really liked it when I saw it. I bought it on eBay, I think, many years ago. But I'd never seen one in LMS black. And I just had to go for it. It wasn't expensive. I think it was probably less than 50 quid, something like that. Although I can't remember. But in those days, I wouldn't have been spending a lot on any model. Okay, so that is April 20, and we'll put it in for May 21. That gets a tick. Okay, so yeah, the next one is the Wrenn Mallard. Nice. So, let me just find the page. Wrenn, Castle, and we've got a couple of Wrenns to do today. They're normally quite stressful, I find. Yeah, they're just a bit fiddly. Sometimes quite temperamental as well at times, but usually not too bad. So I've got Golden Eagle and the A4. Okay, so there's no notes to see really. Oh, Kelly Ashford, how many derailments have you suffered? Well, I'm not an engine, Kelly, so I can't say that I've ever personally derailed. As for my engines, I don't keep count, unfortunately, but it's safe to say there have been many. Particularly when it's a Dapol Loco on the track or something like that. That 73 very nearly did my head in the other day. But fortunately it's all okay now. Well, it isn't, it'll still derail, but if I put it on the middle line, it should be okay. Okay, here it is, folks, the Wrenn A4. And of course they're very impressive because they're made of metal, incredibly heavy models. Even more so than any of Hornby's or Bachmann's probably put together. Although, obviously, that makes no sense. Okay, so we've got a bit of a greasy base already, so we'll start by just cleaning that off. There we are. And then we'll get this thing apart. So, let's just try and remember how the body comes off on this. Okay, yeah, I think it's just 2 screws. I'm going to take off the back bogie for the same problem. Sorry, it's not a bogie, it's a truck. For the same reason that I took off the coronation one. There we are, now that's out of the way. The front bogie, I reckon, could probably stay in place because obviously I can just shift it out of the way and grab the body screw there. So that comes out. And you're going to see just how impressively engineered, or rather over-engineered, these are. But then again, because they're so heavy and they've got the die-cast bodies, the extra weight and the extra quality is probably good. The extra... What am I trying to say here? The size of the motor, etc., is probably worth it. So there we go. That's the motor in there. The armature, you can just about see it. Yes, quite impressive things. Now, I wonder if I'll have to remove the pole pieces or not. Because if I do, I'll have to remagnetise. So I might be able to clean the commutator without. So first things first, let's pull out the spring. The spring comes out here, let me show you this. So I've just pulled out the stopper, so to speak. The spring comes out, nice big springs, which probably need a clean. Let's clean them as I go, and I won't forget what I've done. Just make sure the end is clean. You could probably file them as well, but because I clean mine every year, they tend to come clean, just with a bit of a cotton bud dab. Oh, you can't see this. There we are, that's all I'm doing. And then hopefully the spring will fall out. There we go. If it's not all oily, the spring should just drop straight back out. and that was quite successful. Sometimes it's a bit of a faff to get the springs out, the brushes out rather. Springs are alright, they just spring out, as springs often do. If you can't get the brushes out, what I tend to do is take the other stopper out on the other end, take the actual armature of the motor out, and then you can shove something thin right the way through and push it out that way. But that's if you're really desperate to get the brushes out. I suppose you could just push them backwards out the way and clean the commutator that way. Okay, same thing again then. Let's give that spring a little clean. In fact, that one's not noticeably tarnished or anything, but do it anyway. Make sure it's clean. Normally they're under such tension that they conduct well anyway, but it's worth double checking. And as I say, if you're doing this for the first time, if you've just bought the Loco, for example, and you're giving it a proper good service, I would recommend taking this top bearing out, taking out the armature, cleaning everything properly. But because this one's been done before, every year rather, it doesn't need that, I don't think. But obviously if it started to run badly or anything, I might do a full service again one day. But yeah, this is what I like to call a top-up service. It's just a bit of extra oil, bit of a clean, make sure everything's as it should be. And you don't have to dismantle the thing every time. Okay, there we are. So brush and springs, nice and clean. Sam says trains are epic. What's going on, trains are epic? Are you alright? Marvellous mallard, says Kelly, yes. Popping in to watch while on a break from driving my bus, says Jenny Davis. Blimey. Well, in a way, I guess it must be quite nice for you being able to roam around while the rest of us can't. Although I'm sure, no doubt, you'd rather be at home as well. But either way, thank you for what you're doing, allowing people to still get around us. Very good of you. Right, yeah, this is not the easiest actually. It's not the easiest. I think I'm going to take the pole pieces off because I'm struggling to clean the commutator properly. So you probably want the bigger screwdriver for this. Just bear in mind though, if you haven't got a remagnetizer, it's not that advisable to remove these pole pieces because the pole pieces act as a keep, and once you take them off, the magnet will lose some of its strength. So this is what you do if you don't want to lose the strength. You just open them up like that, don't let them break contact. Probably best to take the screw all the way out. Don't let them break contact, just push them back, and you can do it without breaking contact. And that should still be, yeah, that should still be strong enough. In fact, there we go. As you can see, it's holding the screwdriver on there. So that's something you have to be really careful of if you don't have the facility to remagnetize. I do, but it's a bit of a faff, isn't it? So if you can avoid it, do. Alright, so that's alright. Now I've got better access to the actual commutator so that I can hold the armature in place while I clean a section of it. At least I tried it the lazy way. Didn't really work though. Okay. Let's go in a bit closer, shall we? That's it. See if I can clean this one up. Yeah, it's coming up nice and clean. I reckon this must have been Dremelled in the last few years. I think it said on the notes, probably 2017. I think that's when I bought most of my Wrenn stuff. As you can see, it needed it though. Pretty dirty old cotton bud right there. Sam's trains forever, says Kelly Ashford. Thank you very much, Kelly. Makes it sound like I've died. But that's a fitting tribute either way. And there we go. Bullman says thank you too. Right. Well, I think that's looking reasonably clean. Just get a needle, noticeably not the gluey needle. That wouldn't be good, would it? Glue the armature up. Right, make sure that's clean. These are good motors. In fact, they run so smoothly, you can sometimes even turn them using the wheel set. Look at that. You're normally not supposed to be able to do that with a worm drive, but these run so nicely, if they're correctly adjusted that is, that you can push the wheels round and the armature spins. Okay, so the thing is with these, they are slightly badly designed in that if you put oil, really any amount, on this top bearing, it's going to come down and oil up the actual commutator that you've just cleaned. So I don't tend to oil that top piece. I just tend to oil the bottom. So if I can show you this. You just get in there, put some oil on the worm drive, and in the bearing at the bottom. And gravity should mean, hopefully, that that is the bearing that takes all the weight. Hopefully. I've never had a problem. And if you do take the thing apart, you can get a bit of oil straight onto the little ball bearing in the top, and that's all right. But if you're having to do it with the armature still in, it's difficult to do that without getting oil later when you run the thing onto the commutator. So yeah, just be aware of that, because obviously oil on the commutator isn't very good. It messes things up. So we'll see how that goes. We'll just whip the bottom off, get the pickups cleaned. They work exactly the same as the trying Locos, in that one set of the axles transfer power from one rail, and then you've got pickups, wire pickups this time though, as you can see, going to a couple of wheels on the other side, and then the centre wheels don't do very much at all. They're not even flanged, as you can see. All right, so just a little clean on these pickup wires. They're nice and subtle, these though. They're a lot less noticeable than the big copper bands that Triang used. Not a big deal though. I'll pull that up a little, take the plate up, turn that on its side, and then we can get to the base, which is a little oily actually. Just clean some of that off. Being careful not to snag the wire as I do so. And the underside, of course, just because you can't see it, I assume it's going to be oily. These plates do have a tendency to snap, by the way, so watch out for those. Right, is that drying clean now? Should be. Good. So, a tiny bit of oil. I obviously went overboard last time, so I'm going to try not to do that this time. And I'm just going to get the cotton wool bits off there. That's it. That piece. Sometimes your fingers are just better than the tweezers, aren't they? Right. Tiny bit of oil then. And on the back as well. There we are. And that should go together nicely. So all being well, I should be able to do this now, put it back together and get it running without having to remagnetise it. I would, just before you put power to the motor, I would always just make sure that the magnet is still feeling good and strong, because obviously if it's on the weak side, it will draw more current. The motor will, and then obviously it runs the risk of overheating. So yeah, if in doubt, I need a little rhyme. I don't have a follow up to the if in doubt line, but yeah, if in doubt, remagnetise it. See if anyone can come up with a good rhyme for that. Okay, that looks good. So let's reassemble the motor. So same thing again, I've got to try and get this keep back on without disconnecting it from the magnet. That was easy. All right. There's even a left and right on there as well, but it doesn't really help because obviously the left becomes right if you approach from the opposite direction. Yeah, I don't understand that, but obviously because I just kept it in the right orientation, it didn't matter. And it doesn't really matter, it just means your loco will run the wrong way if you get it wrong. It's easy enough to swap though. Okay, brushes and springs, let's get those back in. You want to try and make sure the brushes go back in so that they sort of fit to the shape of the commutator. If not, you'll get a lot of current passing through a small contact area, which again isn't very good, and it will dirty the commutator. Right, and then that little plug goes in there. Yep, that's in. Same with the other side. That brush is barely worn at all. I wonder if I put new brushes in this at some point. It looks like it's not done much running on those at all. Okay, spring. And of course there's no wire to the other plug because it's live to the chassis. There's actually an insulator around this plug which stops it touching the chassis. It's quite a nasty little thing, isn't it, that? To have to rely on that. Why have we stopped streaming? Are we still going? I hope we're still going. On my iPad it's just cut off. We'll put that's a keyword, a pigeon in the chat. Type pigeon if we're still live. I think we are. It's come back on again now, but yeah, let me know if you saw that as well. Hopefully not. Right. So let's get some power out of this. Now, these Locos are very power hungry, and on my useless little 300 milliamp power supply, they sometimes do have a bit of a job getting started. So I might have to just help the armature. 300 milliamps though should be enough usually to sustain the run. And if I've done a good job, it might even start on its own, but we'll see. Okay. Oh yes, it did. Right. And as you can see, it's not accelerated quickly, it spins up slowly because there's quite a lot of inertia on the armature. Quite a heavy motor that. Okay, I've seen some pigeons in the chat. So we're still working, I guess. Still working. Okay, well at least we know there's no problem, because if there was, 300 milliamps wouldn't be enough for this to spin up. There we go. You can see it's slowing down quite a lot, and it takes a while to spin back up. But again, it won't do that on my Gauge Master because there's an amp there. There we go. I love how shiny the wheels are on these as well. There we go. Again, we've got rear drive on these. It doesn't seem to affect these though like it does the Hornby Triangles. Again, maybe the tolerances are a little bit less on this. We'll test that actually. There we go. Okay, those are good and clean. Let's see. Yeah, actually, it's similar amounts of movement, but for some reason this doesn't jam up. How strange. Oh well, mine is not to reason why. Just make sure the bogey wheels are clean. It's always worth cleaning the wheels while the body's off if you can, because then you don't run the risk of the whisk. It's been a while since I've talked about whisks. No, you don't run the risk of getting, said it again. You don't run the risk of getting any IPA or whatever cleaning fluid you use on the bodywork, which is never good. Right, happy with that one. That's looking good. So let's go for the reassembly. That wasn't bad, was it? Seems to be running well too, but we'll see. We'll see about that when we get it down on the track. Okay. The bodies are never a good fit on these. I thought I'd done something wrong the first time. Nope, these screw holes don't really line up that well. So what I do is I just get one of them threaded like that. And then before you tighten it, you get the other one threaded as well. And then you can do it. If you tighten one all the way, you'll find that the other hole isn't lined up anymore. Again, don't know why that is, and it may not be all of them, but both of my A4s are like that for some reason. Not very much, as you can see, because I thread them both first, I can tighten them both fine. But yeah, it's just an odd little quirk for some odd reason. Now, which way does this go? I think the hook faces upwards, doesn't it? Yeah, it's got to, surely. Okay. Rear truck. See if I can get this in. It's got a little collar on it, this screw, which often gets stuck around the drawbar, which is annoying. There we are, it's in. Just waggle it and it goes in the end. Kelly again. What's not to love about Mallard? That's true, Kelly, that's true. Although I imagine she might be a bit insufferable towards the other engines, you know, with her being the fastest and everything. You can imagine her being a bit snooty. But besides that, maybe I'm being unfair, maybe Mallard's not like that at all. But I can imagine that personally. Jess White, hey Sam, fun fact, Sam'sTrains is live. I know, it's shocking. That is a fun fact, Mark, thank you for that. How many A4s have you, including Spencer, Sam, Anthony, McInry? Oh, that's a good question. I'll think about that while I get this done. So we've got 2 Wrenns, Spencer, that's 3, 2 Hornby Railroad ones, that's 5, 2 Bachmann ones, that's 7. Then we've got the Hornby Sir Nigel Gresley, that's 8, and then my Hornby Mallard, 9, and my Hornby Railways Golden Eagle. So I think that's 10. God, that's insane. I guess I've got a problem. 10 E4s. I might have to do a video with that. Imagine that, 10 E4s in a video. I don't know if I've done that before. I think I might have done an E4 video. Can't remember now. Don't know why this light's on this controller. That's strange. Anyway. There we go. That's nice. Oop, express point. There we go. Yeah, that seems happy actually. It's quite nice. So you have to turn these up a bit to get them to run fast. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, they're nice, and even though they're quite old, they don't struggle on the Hornby Express points, or any Hornby points, modern, which is good. There we go. Okay, she's working. Very nice. And that one can have a tick. Pop that back. And I did get the tender coupling drawbar the right way, which is good. Otherwise that wouldn't have gone back on. So I'll put her back with a tender now. Okay, let me put the camera back. I did forget to change the camera once last week, so I'll try not to do that again. Okay, so that was Mallard done. So that can go in for April 20 and May 21. Good. And then the next one is another Bullid. This time it is a West Country class Lime Regis, and this one is the unrebuilt one. No, the rebuilt one, that's it. Everyone got excited there. No, I wouldn't dare do that one on stream. Right, full service it says. Yeah, cool. So I really like this one. Not entirely sure how prototypical the livery is on this. Probably not very. I seem to remember something about that, but yeah, it's beautiful. Almost a bit like a toy, but of course it's not a toy. Right, bung that in the shop for you. There we are. Let you have a look at that. All metal, once again, very, very heavy. In fact, that one's even heavier than the A4. Would you like me to weigh it? That might be a little fun thing to do. Weigh-in Tuesday. Let's get the scales in the right way. Make sure there's nothing underneath them. Right. Come on, scale, 0. Ready? Oh. So that's without the tender, we are at 600 grams. Crike. That's something. So with the tender, it's going to be probably more like, probably 650, something like that. Crikey. So that's more than half a kilogram right there. Wow. So the Hatton 66 is only about 100 grams heavier. Was the Hatton 66 700 grams? Yeah, that makes this a very, very dense Loco, doesn't it? Right, let's get started. Oh. All right. So the body attachment on this one is a bit of a faff. In fact, I think I need to get the chimney first. Yes. Because it weighs so much, they seem to go with the belts and braces approach, because there are tons of screws holding this thing together. So whip that one out the chimney. I think now it can go into the cradle. You also have to loosen off the rear screws here, which hold the drawbar in place. So let me show you that. They have to be loosened out as far as they can go without coming off. You could just take the thing off, but I tend not to. And then you have these ones here. I'm struggling to remember myself here. You've got 2 more screws on the base. They have done a bit of a Helgen here with the number of screws, but I think in this case it's reasonable because there's a lot of Loco at stake here. Let's get this out. You do run the risk of losing screws inside the mechanism with this one, so yeah, you've got to watch it. And then because I've loosened this off, I should be able to lift this out and just get the end of that drawbar through the gap like that. Little magic trick. And then that thing there doesn't have to come off, which is nice. Cool. So these have slightly different motors in that you can take them off all the way. In fact, will I be able to get this screw out without the rear pony coming off? Yes, I think so. Yeah. So that's the motor out. Can I get the screw as well? Just to save me losing it? Or can it not actually come out? Yes, it can. I was going to say if the truck, why do I keep saying bogey today? Yeah, if that was going to hold it in, I could have left it, but no, I won't. Okay, let me just clean up the area where the motor sits, because I notice it looks a bit on the grubby side. And because I can get to the gear on this one, I'm going to give it a bit of a clean up. So let's do that. Toothbrush. Let's just move the motor out of the way, make sure the body's well out of the way, because you don't want to be flicking IPA onto the bodywork. There we are. I'll just turn the wheel set while I do this. Tell you what, that's making a visible difference. Don't know if you can see that, but it's shiny now where I've cleaned it. That's it. Just make sure there's no debris on there, which is good. And then I suppose I ought to do the, no, I'll do the actual worm drive in just a second. Very unusual worm drives, as you can see there. They're very slim type part of the shaft. Okay, so I've put the little arrow end on here to show which way is north and which way is south. Okay, well, let's go for the disassembly then. Let's pull these springs out. The springs can just go back there. Oh no. I am taking the whole thing apart here, so the springs have got to come right off. There we go, spring. Same with the other side. I love these. These are just, they're so over-engineered. It's like almost the real thing would be less complicated than this. But no, it's fine. It's cool. Other side. Oh, the springs, the brushes rather, came out pretty good today. Glad to see that. Okay. Undo some of these screws. And always bear in mind you have got ball bearings running around inside here, so be careful when you take it apart not to lose it. Usually they stay in place, but sometimes they don't, particularly where the magnet's involved. The magnet can sometimes attract them out of their little housing. Okay, I think this one needs to come a bit further. Look at this, 4 screws holding the actual motor together. It's brilliant though. I wish some Locos were built like this today. I mean, they're a nightmare to service really, and the performance isn't really much better than Triang's, but yeah, you just imagine that you're dealing with something serious when you deal with these. Okay. Well, the ball bearing's still in there, which is good. And there we have it. So first thing, I will clean up the worm drive, now that I can turn the shaft. And then I'll clean the shaft after I've done that, and then I won't have to touch it again. I'll also check the magnet. The magnet's right there, as you can see. These are ring field motors, technically, because the magnet is, well, ring shaped. So let's just check that. Yeah, that's good. That's more than strong enough. It acts directly onto the armature, of course. There's no pole pieces of any kind with this one, which is good. So it doesn't have to be all that strong, which is probably why these ones don't burn out as much as the other type does. But sometimes they do. I noticed the brushes had got a strange wear pattern on them with this one. They actually look like they need some extra running in, because there's only a sort of narrow area contacting it. And there was a sort of narrow strip of dirt on the commutator as well, which was a bit odd. Not sure how that happened. I would have thought that they'd been put in the wrong way again, but they hadn't been worn the other way. Strange. Who was that? Kelly Ashford. Has any restoration of yours ever gone wrong? Not that I can remember. There might have been some that were too far gone, like the motors might have been bust or something like that, and I wasn't able to do it. But I don't think any of them have gone majorly wrong on my account because of something I've done. There may be one or two, but yeah, not that I can recall. No, not really. Right. So let's oil the various parts of the shaft. So that in there needs oil. And then I will just place a little tiny bit of oil right here on this ball bearing. There we are. or rather a big old gollop of oil, which needs to be then cleaned out again. It's probably a good way to do it though, then at least you know it's lubricated and you can just clean it out. Okay, that's it. So this has to go back on the right way now, like that. And you have to make sure that the shaft finds its bearing before you shove it in place. So there we go, that has now. And there should be just a little bit of movement on the shaft, not too much, just a tiny bit. And as you can see there is. If not, you've got to loosen this off and start adjusting. But that's already been done with mine. Well, the chassis is the main part, says Luke Alford. Okay. Oh, okay, Stepney boys giving away an E2 tank engine without a chassis. That's all right. That's a bit of a challenge, isn't it, for somebody looking to, I don't know, create a chassis. I like Pacers is putting pigeons. You're all right. You're all right. I think we've sussed that now. I think we're still on, which is good. Okay. Hopefully this thing is going to work again. Look, I don't think I've ever, on any of these recent streams at least, I can't speak for any that I've done in the past, but I don't think I've ever put a Loco together and it's been dead, have I? I could be wrong, but I don't think it's happened recently, so we've got a good record at the moment. Hopefully I won't ruin all that. Okay, so that is now tight. And the armature's still free, which is good. Okay, let's get the brushes back in again, make sure they go the right way to fit the armature or the commutator. And then the brushes are a bit of a fiddly trick to get on. They wind all the way around, the springs that is, and they sit into a slot on the brush. And the slot on the brush is quite a nice thing. I don't think they're manufactured onto there. They could be. I always thought they just happen naturally, but they do mean that you always get the brush in the right way. Sometimes the spring wears a great big well deep into a big slot rather, right into the brush. And they're less good because then you're wasting brush, aren't you? But yeah, that feels good. So let's turn that upside down. Give it a bit of a run. What do you reckon, is this going to work? Feels quite loose. Again, these are quite high power motors. There we go. 6 volts. As you can hear, that's spinning up. So we'll let that have its little fussy for a second, let it spin. Pigeon. Everyone's saying pigeon again now. Do you have any Lima train sets? No, I don't. I have I think a lot of components from various Lima train sets, but I don't think any actual train sets. Are they still available today? Lima train sets? I'm not sure. Agnes, Sam, can I have some advice for building my own layout? Well, maybe I'm probably not the best person to be giving advice on layouts. I don't know if you've seen mine, but it's not very good. I do have a video on getting started in model railways and that sort of thing, so feel free to check that out. But if it's a layout you want, there are other YouTubers, I think, that could serve you better than I could. Unless you want a carpet layout, which I wouldn't really recommend. Right. Clean up the non-driven wheels to start with, and then we'll get the base off. It's very much the same now as the A4 where the base is concerned. Okay, these wheels don't really get dirty. Right, whip off the base then. I'll just use this screwdriver. There you go, should be the same drill. This one's not got any cracks in it. Just keep an eye on the base pieces, because like I say, if you over tighten the screws as well, they can crack. So just bear that in mind, be very careful not to over tighten. It should be alright. So the pickup piece is actually sandwiched together. If I can keep it that way, it saves me having to try and reassemble it later on. They're not stuck together or anything. So if I'm not careful, they will just come apart. But yeah, it's easier when they stay together. Okay, let's get rid of some of this oil. And the good thing about this is now that the motor's out, I can turn the wheel set freely, which is nice. Right, let's set that down. Oh, it's gonna come apart, isn't it? It's not a big deal. It's seconds, really. There we go. Axles are clean anyway by the looks of it, but just give them a once over. Okay, look at that. Look how free that is. Very free. Yes, no wonder these are good runners. And that's before I've got oil on. Let's try it again now with oil. Oh yeah, look at that. And to say they're running all that valve gear as well. Certainly do get a bit of the old flywheel effect there, don't you? It's very satisfying, that. So the motor is literally under no strain at all, turning all that lot, which is exactly right. That's what you want. Okay, so I got the base back in without it coming apart, which is great. That doesn't often happen. I'm glad to have caught that on camera. Okay, let's screw in gently. So, yep, very gently with these screws. Just make them finger tight. That's it. Are we still nice and free? Obviously it is less free now that the pickups are pushing against the wheels, but still good. Okay. I thought about maybe putting some petroleum jelly on there, on those pickups, but no, I'm not going to do that until I know for sure that it works right. I wouldn't put it on a Wrenn. Okay, hold the motor in place, get the screw in behind the mount. And there we go, that goes in. Only one screw, but there is a peg on the motor that marries up with a hole in the chassis, or it could be the opposite way around, but yeah, it gets held in place nicely. Then we'll put some oil on the gear, and I have to remember to run it slowly to start with, just while that oil wears in. You'll notice I was quite generous with the oil. You want to put plenty of oil on these, not too much obviously, but enough so that it runs nice and free. Then give it some power, nice and slow to start with. And I'll do the coupling rods after a second of running. There we go, so that should have worn in now on the worm drive. William Babcock, thank you very much. Has there been any locomotive that you sent directly back to the retailer because it was so bad? Yes, once. It was the DJM BT well tank, I think it was. Yeah, just awful. I took the thing apart to service it, and it was just terrible. In fact, what happened was I put it on the track to start with, and it was running really, really badly. It was supposed to be brand new. The person I bought it off says it was brand new, but it was running like an absolute dog. So I stripped it down, or rather tried to strip it down, and it was just such a faff. Everything about it was a faff. And I saw the mechanism, and I just thought, you know what, I don't want this. It cost me a lot of money. It was really light, really bad runner. I just took it straight back to the train fair I bought it from. I got in the car, drove back to the train fair. Never bought another. I think it was DJM, I think. BT well tank. Yeah, lovely looking loco. But sadly, it wasn't to be. But you said the DJM ran like a dog. Yes, it did. SLD 51, it did. It ran horribly. Every single point, it would stop dead. It was really noisy, not very smooth. Cordless motor, I think. Don't like cordless motors. There we go. Anyway, that one's working nicely. Fish. I like Pacers, what? Please get more E2s, Sam, says Stepney Boy 55. I have got a video planned for my current E2. It doesn't involve getting another, but yeah, I have got something interesting to do with it, which I think people might like. So we'll see how that goes. For now though, let's try and get the body back on. Got to get that drawbar behind that plate. There we are. And we can tighten up the back plate again now. So again, that just saved an extra minute or two, not having to take that off, because it's a bit of a pain getting these screws threaded, because they don't stay where you put them. So that is back on. 2 screws here. Try not to drop those down inside the body. That's it. Yeah, that was reasonably problem-free, wasn't it? I'm really pleased with that one. Went well. And then, of course, the one that I often forget, the chimney screw. There we go. There. I think that's done. So let's take it onto the track and have a look what people are saying. Thomas wants fish. What car do you drive? None of your business, SLD51. It's not a nice car though. Well, it is a nice car. It's not a posh car or anything like that. Nothing you'd want to show off about, put it that way. Right. Here we go. You just can't get over, if you've ever held one of these, you'll know what I mean. You just can't get over how much they weigh. It's almost a farce how heavy they are. There we go. And I think that one is a nicer runner than the A4 is. In fact, I might hazard a crawl with this one. Bit of stuttering on the express points, but on the straights it's fine. Right, crawl, here we go. Yeah, that's crawling. It's not very smooth, but it is very slow. No doubt because the wheel set's so incredibly free. Yeah, that's good. Right, got time for about one more. What do you reckon? Shall we do one more? And then I've done my 5. Last few days in the month I do 5 Locos a day, and that's my quota, and that way I'm not having to do it all month round. So if I can do 5, that's good. And I might be all done by Friday's stream, but I'll find something else to do for that. Right. Oh, Kelly again. Wow, Kelly, you've been very, very kind today, Kelly. Thank you very much. Microchips fans to do with the fish. Oh yes, I think I would do that, Kelly. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan if such a thing existed. Right, so that one gets a tick. This one is April 20, May 21. Okay, so the next one is another Wrenn. This one is City of London, and I think this is probably my least good one. It runs very well, if I remember, but I think it's been quite heavily used by a previous owner, and it's rather well worn, I think. Where are we? Struggling to find this one. Come on, see. City of London. There we go. Full service, 2017. It was scaled. Nothing more to add, but you'll just notice that just in general, the mechanism doesn't look quite as pristine on this one. Like I say, I think it's been used quite heavily. So here it is, City of London. I think this one's got a Neo magnet in it, or at least it did. I may have tried to replace it with a non-Neo one, because obviously they're a bit strong, some of the Neo ones, and they can wear the bearings out. But yes, no, it does have a Neo, yeah. So I obviously didn't find a non-Neo one that was suitable in my box of magnets. I love cordless motors, says SLD51. That's okay, that's fair enough. I don't, but they're good when they're on DCC. Yes, so I hear, Lettuce. I've never actually chipped one of my cordless Locos. Perhaps I should. It's not a bad idea. Right, let's get this baby open then. Now, how does the body come off? I can't see one in the chimney. Yes. Okay, there's a strange little quirk with the way the bodies are fixed on with these, something I've not always understood. Because at the front you've got a screw, but at the back you've just got a slot which fits into the back of the body. And that little bar that fits into the slot is made of plastic. So you've got this really heavy metal chassis, or body rather, being supported by a plastic rod. And they do snap. I've had quite a few of them snap in the past. And you have to glue them, and then you've got a weak plastic rod holding the Loco in place. So you always have to be careful when you remove the body. So you just ease the front up like this and pull forwards until it disengages. Then you can pull it forwards and out. Although maybe the drawbar will have to come off. Yeah, perhaps it will. Let's do that. It's normally in the way anyway while you're servicing, flapping around and stuff. So take the bogey off. Truck, not bogey. Take that off. And hopefully the drawbar will come off with it, and then should be able to get the body off that way. Can I? Should do. The back slot has disengaged now, so I should, yeah, there we go. It's out, and as you can see, it's very similar to the A4. Not very different, really. And yeah, I don't know, there's just something about this that's not quite as pristine as the others. The wheels are a bit less shiny, I guess. And yeah, I think when it first came as well, it was in quite a mess. The wheels were very dirty and the motor was all like charred and blackened and that. So yeah, I got the feeling when I bought it that it had been well used. But, like I say, for some reason it runs really well. Or at least it did. So if it starts running really badly after I've done this, then oops, but hopefully not. Right, so straight away I can see that the brushes are not coming out. So let me see if I can just coax them out. This is always a bit of a faff. If I'm not taking the armature out, it's going to be a problem if the brushes don't present themselves. But we'll see. See if I can. I'm just trying to lubricate it now with a bit of IPA. See if I can't get it to come free. So now that it's all IPA'd up, if I just push the brush, hopefully it will slide back out when I push it back down again. Nope, that one is not coming out, so we'll try that again later. Maybe I could live without it coming out, we'll see. Then the back brush retaining spring thing, needs to use the pliers on that, I think. Yeah, this has got a Neo magnet, definitely a Neo, as you can see, which means you don't have to worry about remagnetizing. It holds its strength even if you pull the two pole pieces apart, which is good. So that's not going to be a concern, although I'll probably do it the same way because it's just easier. Right, is the other brush going to come out? That's a no. How annoying that is. Let's get that needle again, see if I can push it. Oh yeah, got that one. So we've got one out of two brushes, the other one's not coming out. Although I might just try it once more for luck. But this one did, so it gets cleaned. Well, you don't get cleaned if you don't present yourself. Let's try again. Let's give it a good shove. Don't really want to start banging this on the table, but give it a little bang. Yeah, I don't think that's coming out. Maybe one thing I could do, I've got some syringes. Could that work? Produce some negative pressure on it, that might do it. I've never thought of this before, but it's the sort of thing that might work well on a stream. Perhaps not. Oh, it has worked, it has. The brush is now right at the end of that hole. Can I get it out any further? It sort of has worked, but the diameter in the hole on the end of the syringe is a little bit narrower than the brush, so it's not going to come out into the syringe. Have I got a more suitable syringe? Yeah. This is some interesting solution right here. Yeah, this one's better. If I can get a good seal on there, should be able to just pull it right out. Nope, can't get a good seal, I don't think. Oh, there it is. Did you see that? The brush is now inside the syringe. Perfect. Well, that was great. What an idea that was. See, being on stream gives me good ideas. Good, so I've now got the brush out without having to bang the thing on the desk. So there you go, there's a tip on the fly. Get some syringes. You can suck the brushes out of the armature. Cool. Well, that was interesting. I can honestly say I've never thought of that before. Right, let's whip the bolt and nut off this. Can you believe the size of the nut and bolt. Look at that. Can you imagine something that size in a modern Loco? Just wouldn't happen, would it? Look at that for a magnet. That's a big old magnet. And this, as you can see, is just very, very strong. Right, so that can go over there. Now I've got access to the armature and the commutator, so I can clean those up. It's free running though, as you can see, even though I've not oiled it yet. I want to stalk Sam, says SLD51. Don't like that. Please don't do that. Yeah, Mod, you can take any stalking comments out of the chat. I don't mind that. Don't want to. I'd like to be able to sleep at night if that's okay. Right. Okay, so this is cleaning up nicely. It's coming up shiny straight away, which is good. And that's because I scaled it back in 2017. So as you can see, yeah, that's looking shiny already. But keep going on it. Make sure it's good. All right. Yeah, I seem to remember the mechanism in here being really grubby and dirty. So either I misremembered that, or just the last time I did it, I must have gone to town and really polished everything up. Because I remember this one being a bit dirtier than that. The base plate's a little bit crummy, but that's all I can say. Okay, I must say the motor's in good shape. I don't run the Wrenns very often, so I like to try and preserve them, but they do get a fair bit of running. Although admittedly not very much in videos. But yeah, that looks spot on now, very good. So, let's get some oil to it. Again, I'm not going to oil the top because I don't want oil going down onto the actual commutator. Obviously it would be better if it was oil, but I think it's the lesser of two evils not to oil it, because then it's going to stay free of oil. You really don't want oil on the commutator. Oh, the live stream police, I guess, have detected a pacer. We must take care of it. Yes, yes, yes. Down with the pacers. Or is that very unprofessional of me to say that? Perhaps it is. Right, I'm not going to reassemble the motor until I have done the wheel set, because I've noticed that I can turn the wheels. Look at that, amazing. While the brushes and magnet isn't attached, which might be advantageous while I'm working on the base here. I'll just whip the bottom off and we'll have a look at the pickups. That's it. Right. So again, it's very much the same, I think, as the others we've looked at. The little sandwiches come apart there. Just get the oil off that. I don't know how these get so oily. As you can see, I don't put a great deal of oil on, but they're always caked in it. I'm going to make an extra effort today to put a very small amount on, so that it doesn't look like this next time I do it. Okay, pickups. As you can see, if you're just doing a top-up, these really don't take long at all. And it is worth topping them up with a bit of an extra clean and a bit of extra oil, because they can run badly if not. And if these run badly, they tend to draw a lot of current and damage the motors. So it is well worth looking after these. I mean, it's worth looking after any Loco you've got, but I would say especially Wrenns if you've got them. And Hornby Dublo, of course. Okay, just turning and cleaning the axle. I can see a bit of black gunge on the axles there, but that's basically gone now, which is good. So, little oil, you know the drill. Try and be tiny with the oil this time. Very small amount. That's it. Bit extra on the back, because it needs it. Right, reassemble. Oh, this has gone well. Is this going to be a full house? If this one works, it will be. That's it. Got to try and get the very bottom piece on without the pickups moving out the way. Okay, what did I do with the screws? There they are. Okay, pop that one in. That's it. Sorry I go silent during this part. This is the fiddly bit. Not a good multitasker. Alright. And it's still turning freely, which is nice. So let's just clean the front bogie while it's upside down. Saves me forgetting to do that later on. Then we'll put the motor together, get the wheels cleaned, and hopefully that will be a good day's work well done. Although I shouldn't start celebrating too early. We're certainly not out of the woods yet. We'll see how it goes. Okay. So let's do the Magna Assembly first, which is stuck to my helping hand. Tut tut. Cool, yeah. That magnet does not like being separated from the pole pieces. It was fighting me there. Cool, it's that strong that it's not going on right. Hang on, let's whip it off again. In theory I could put these on one at a time, but we'll see. Crikey, what a strong magnet. There we are. And then the screw, or the bolt rather. Not that the bolt's necessary on this one because the magnet is that strong. It's not going anywhere. Are we coming through? I'm not sure if that's threading or not. No, it's not. Is it now? Hang on, let's shove it through. There we are. Now thread it. Could have been sat winding that all day. Right, I think we've got it now. Yeah. That's it. Not too tight. That's good. Right, brushes, freshly cleaned. That goes in that way. Until the next time I have to plunge it out with a syringe. That was cool though. I wasn't really, that was kind of a goofy idea. Didn't really believe in it, but it did work. It did work. So I'll have to remember that in the future because sometimes I'm struggling for ages to get the brushes out of these. But that's a good way to do it if you don't want the armature to come out. Once the armature's out, it's a lot easier. You can just poke something through and it'll work. But yeah, if you're not doing that, that was handy. Okay, so clamp it right there. Let's power the helping hand this time. Saves me having to put extra stress on those motor spring retaining things, whatever they are. That on there. Just make sure it works. Run that worm a little way. Yeah, okay. So, oops. Oopsie daisy. I may have just spilt a bit of IPA on the carpet. Oh, this room's going to be full of fumes in a second. We better wrap this up. Nobody strike any matches. How much have I lost? Oh, that's a good half a bottle gone on the floor. Crikey. Hang on, let me just get a rag. Try and soak that up out of the carpet. The good thing is it evaporates quick. Bad news is then you've got like a fog in the air. Right, that's taken care of. Right, let's do this quickly then before I end up inhaling too much IPA and going on sort of a strange high from it or something. I don't know, I don't want to imagine. Okay. SLD51 says, sorry for creeping you out, Sam. That's okay, just don't do it again. It was a bit creepy, I won't deny that. How's everybody doing? Why commercial? What? Oh dear, yeah. That's the one thing, because I use a sort of not very well balanced bottle like this, and sometimes my cotton bud just pulls it over on the way out. I used to blue tack it to my desk, but I don't anymore for some reason. It was a good idea though, because then if you just flick it by accident, it doesn't fall over. Oh, this one's running good. It's not even slowing down that much when I put some pressure on the wheels, which is nice. It is a bit, obviously. but not as much as the other one was, and it's running at 7 volts. So that's reasonably good, I would say. Right, they seem to be coming up clean now. Make sure the inner flanges are done. Right, jolly good. Take the crocks off then, and we'll get this baby reassembled. Yeah, generally that was pretty successful, I would say, except for spilling a lot of dangerous chemical on my floor. It's alright, it's happened before. Baptised the floor with IPA. It's alright. Keeps the place sterile, yeah. I did it on purpose. Okay. So that's the body screw returned. Nearly. There we are, yep. And then the rear truck. Have you ever glued your fingers to anything? According to you, I have, Kelly. I remember one of your stories talking about me gluing my fingers together. To be truthful, I have glued my fingers together before. I used to buy this cheap sort of Poundland super glue, and you probably know the kind. As soon as you open the cap, the glue starts flowing out because there's some sort of weird air pressure inside because it was packed in a cooler climate or so. I don't know. But yeah, it starts flowing out all over your fingers, and then you've got this tube of super glue stuck in your fingers like this. And you think, oh God, what now? And you end up having to like lose the top layer of skin off your fingers. And then the interesting thing is you've then got a bit of your flesh stuck to your tube of super glue for the next few months or however long it lasts, which is always slightly, well, it's kind of revolting actually, isn't it, really? And that's why I use the Loctite, because you actually have to squeeze the bottles really to get the glue to come out. It doesn't just flow everywhere. It is worth spending the extra on the super glue, not because the glue's any better, because the cheap Poundland super glue is very good, but because the packaging's better. Right, here we go then. Last one. Fingers crossed. Although on the bench it was running fine, so provided the pickups are okay, I'm not expecting any problems with this. See how it does on the points. Yeah, that's fine. And no stuttering on the points, which is good. Forwards we go. Yeah, it does have a job getting started. Like I say, a lot of momentum to build up. Okay, can it crawl? Obviously these are not designed to crawl, but people seem to like seeing Locos crawl, so we'll do that. As you can see, it's not that much better for the big Neo Magnet, although that crawl is pretty good. It's better than the A4's was. Oops. Well, a bit of a stall there, which didn't sound very good. But no, as you can see, that is fine. And it has got a fair bit of speed to it if you want to. Well, it's a bit scary seeing a 500 gram Loco race by. But yeah, they're very impressive. They're not very realistic in terms of their detail, but in terms of their weight and the, I don't know, you just, when you see one run, particularly at high speed with a big train, you can tell that it's heavy. I don't know if that's just mental or if there's a good reason for it, but you just get the feeling that, I don't know, it's just so much more realistic looking because of its weight. Maybe that's just like a placebo effect type thing, but no, I think there's value to them still. Okay, well, if anyone wants a last minute shout out, make it known now and I will take a look at the chat. But I think that is about it for the servicing today. Hope you enjoyed that. Did 5 today. That's a good number, isn't it? Caden, the Cadbury engine, love that, is watching from San Diego. Wow. I'll just wait till Worley. Okay, what's that you waiting for, King? I think I must have missed the previous one. My favourite merchant navy would probably be Canadian Pacific, at least in model form, because I love the BR Blue one. I don't know, they're lovely. Fun fact, Sam likes trains. That's another good, you're coming out with them today, Mark. I must say, that was very insightful. I don't think many will have been aware of that. Henzoggy, shout out, there you go. Me please, says Charlie Gilbertson, there you go. Don't think I've given Charlie a shout out before. What's your favourite US steam loco? I love the Berkshires because of the Polar Express. Oh, Tom's 170's arrived. You can't run it though because you lay out the DCC. Okay, all right. Well, let us know how it goes once it's chipped. I'd like to hear an update on that. Watching from North Carolina, says Sean Chappell. Wow, how are things over in North Carolina? Stoke-on-Trent, says Alistair Smith. Ah, that's a bit more local. Shout out, please, all the way from Sydney, Australia. Wow, people from all over the world. That's crazy. Derbyshire is so big, I can't find Sam's house. Good. You shouldn't be looking, that's creepy. I won't tell you where in Derbyshire then, thank goodness. Can I have a shout out? James's Trains, yes. Legendary Cow, shout out, there you go. Zipping Cruisers, same to you. I heard that Neomagnet can burn out the armature, is that true? Michael, it shouldn't burn them out, but it can wear out the bearings that I've found once or twice. But they're not that bad, but if you've got the choice, a remagnetizer is better than buying loads of Neomagnets. And to be honest, if you've got to buy sort of, I don't know, let's say you've got 10 Triang Locos, the Neomagnets were about £5 each, weren't they? Well, that's 50 quid down the drain straight away. So let's say the magnetizer was 130, so how many Locos would you need? Not that many. Probably 30 to make it absolutely worthwhile. The Triang 3F service email, says New Western Grove. Sure, I'll look out for that. I might not have come to that one yet, New Western Grove, but I will definitely look for it. Okay, brilliant. So, thank you guys very much for turning out. I hope you enjoyed that one. Like I say, if you like your vintage Locos, that should have been a good one for you. Quite a few vintage Locos serviced today, and all working good, which is great. So, you guys take care. I will see you tomorrow with another video. What have I got tomorrow? You know, I can't remember, but you'll find out tomorrow, I guess. I seem to remember it's a reasonably interesting one, so I hope you enjoy it. All right, folks, thank you so much for coming. Thank you very much to everybody that donated today. It's very kind of you, as always. Not necessary or required, but very much appreciated. So, Kelly Ashford, thank you very much to you. George Botterini, there we go. Sorry for emphasising the bottom part there. Colin Wykes, Mark7188, Peter Henson for becoming an engineer. Boas04 rather, also for becoming an engineer. William Babcock as well, and I think besides Kelly's lots of donations. Thank you very much, Kelly. I think that is about it. Okay, folks, have a great day, enjoy yourself, and stay safe more importantly. Okay, see you later, folks.